I suppose being a young guy, you don't really think much about where your life's heading. You're just kind of collecting memories, and you hope one day you look back at them and you realize that you had a really good life and that those memories are really precious to you. But you don't really expect to be thinking about those memories in that way when you're at 23. But that's kind of what happened with me because of cancer.
I was born in 1991, the first of 3 kids. I had a pretty normal life, nothing too exciting, but nothing too dreadful either. And like many kids my age, I had an unhealthy fascination with Barney. Eventually I got over Barney, and I did grow up. I became interested in film and even ended up studying it, which is why I'm recording this now. By this point you might be wondering why you're still seeing pictures of me as a kid. And if I'm being honest, it's because I feel it will make what I have to say next more impactful.
My name is Christian Ibarra, and I have cancer. I should probably start from the beginning.
In 2011, I went to the emergency room at Kaiser Sunset after I had experienced some testicular pain. There I found out that I had an epididymal cyst, which is a fluid-filled sac on top of the testicle that was most likely the cause of my pain. In May of 2013, I began experiencing pain in my left knee, and shortly after found a small bump that was causing it. The bump was removed in December of that year, and it turned out to be a leiomyoma, which is a soft muscle benign tumor. A couple of months later, my testicular pains came back, and I decided to go to the doctor to seek a way to treat the cyst, which I still thought was the cause of the pain. The week of the appointment, I noticed swelling in my right testicle, and so did my doctor. He sent me to see a urologist, who ordered some blood work and ultrasounds. It was about an hour after I left the hospital when I arrived at school that I got the call from the urologist telling me that I had testicular cancer. It was not until that week that I had actually noticed any symptoms that would actually relate to testicular cancer. But because of the leiomyoma and even further back, the testicular pain caused by the cyst, that I was prompted to actually look into it, and by chance was able to catch the cancer when it was barely starting.
The response to my cancer diagnosis was immediate, and the next day I went for a pre-op. Within 5 days of my diagnosis, I had a scheduled appointment to have my testicle removed. My pre-op was on a Friday, and the surgery was on Monday. I remember getting put on the bed, having the gas mask put on my face, and going to sleep. And by the time I woke up, they had removed the testicle and the tumor along with it. And then I got a call from my doctors telling me that the results of the biopsy did not look good. It turned out that the tumor that I had was a mixed germ cell tumor. When I met with the doctors again, there were 2 options: lymph node removal or chemo.
In June of 2014, I had surgery to remove the lymph nodes. And out of the 10 lymph nodes that were removed, none showed any signs that the cancer had spread. So for the rest of that summer, I lived my life like I normally would have done. It was the end of summer in September of 2014, and I was about to start what would have been my last quarter at school. I had another opportunity for a great internship that month, and I also had my 3-month checkup with my doctor.
When I saw my doctor, he examined me, ordered some blood tests, and said everything looked fine. The one thing I had forgotten to do was go get some chest x-rays. So right after I saw him, I went to go get them done. And he said that if anything came up, he would call me right away. The next morning at 7 a.m., I got a phone call that woke me up, and it was my doctor, telling me that something showed up in the x-ray that might be cause for concern, and that I should go back and get some extra tests done.
I was handed over to a new doctor, and over the next 2 weeks, I went through a new series of tests until, on what would have been my first day of class, I found out that the cancer had spread to my lungs and that I would have to undergo chemotherapy. Chemotherapy is a treatment compiled of several hundred drugs that can be used in combination to treat specific kinds of cancer. These drugs are administered to travel throughout the body to attack cancer cells wherever they may exist. These are powerful drugs that target actively reproducing cells such as cancer cells, but can also damage normal cells. This makes chemotherapy a double-edged sword. Use too little, and the cancer will continue to grow. Use too much, and the chemo drugs may do more harm than good. In order to counteract the cancer and give the body enough time to heal, chemo drugs are administered in cycles. This allows time for the body to recover from the damage that the chemotherapy may cause. My treatment plan required the administration of 3 drugs: cisplatin, etoposide, and bleomycin. These drugs were given to me over 3 cycles, each consisting of 1 week of full chemo and 2 weeks off, with bleomycin shots every Tuesday. Even with all the precautions, it is hard to avoid the side effects, many of which I experienced firsthand over the 3 months I was receiving the treatment.
So right now I'm receiving treatment. They only have me on liquids right now. Pretty soon, once they get their chemo mix going, the pharmacist will bring it over and then they'll hook me up to that and then start my treatment fully from there. So this is my first week, 3rd day. First day I was fine till about I got out. I was gonna go to class and started feeling a little bit weak. My body felt really warm. So I didn't go to class that day, and yesterday I just felt really tired the whole day afterwards. So it's been the first week since chemo. Right now I'm on my way to a friend's house. I'm just trying to, keep some type of normalcy in my life, trying to just live like I would regardless of the cancer. The important thing about me kind of going out today is just to get out of the house, hang out with my friends. It's been kind of tough, mostly the sleep. I've had some fever a couple of days. It kind of goes back and forth between good and bad. So far, the further I draw time away from the actual chemo sessions, it's actually a little bit better.
Omar and Mark, time for interview. Ask us a question, yeah?
Yeah. Ready on set?
Omar,
Right
he's
on
practicing. Alright.
Fade in, camera 1.
You
shot
ask the
1.
question first, alright?
Ready in 3.
Go.
Alright, so let's start off with your name and how you know me.
My name is Mark VRL, and I've known Chris since high school.
I don't like close-ups.
Alright. And
I'm drunk, dude.
you're drunk?
A little bit. More than I'm used to. My name's Omar Escobar. I've known Chris since I would say freshman year of high school. That would probably be like around 2008. And yeah, we shared great times and like really great times together.
How many people do you know in your life that have been affected by cancer?
Well, my uncle he had cancer, and he passed away recently. When he passed away, I kind of felt better because he wasn't in that pain anymore. But he found out late that he had cancer, so he already had it for some months.
Yeah. Sadly, my mom was affected by cancer. I lost my mom in the year 2010. I was a junior in high school, getting ready for my senior year. We found out she had cancer. It was just, come on, it's your mom. You don't think like that's something like that can happen. I'm really serious about like my emotions. I don't really get that out. My brother and sister showed it, and I kind of didn't show it because I don't want to be that. I don't know. I'm weird, but it hit me really hard, and it doesn't go a day that I think about her. But when I think about her, I know that she's in a great place, and I know that she's waiting for me somewhere, and I'll see her again one day.
When I heard that Christopher had cancer, I just stopped, I paused, and I thought about it. And the first thing that I noticed, or the first thing that came to my mind, is that he needs our support.
When you told us you had cancer, I thought about it. And I was just like, it's happening all over again. The people I love being affected. My mom was just, I loved her so much. And then when I got the news that you told me that you had cancer, it just brought up memories of her. Just kind of hurt me to think that I would lose you too. I don't want to lose you, dude. It affected me when you told us. I probably don't show it, but after this video, you probably know.
So I just arrived at school right now, and I got some blood work done. I guess the big thing that happened today was I started losing my hair because of the chemo. So probably have to shave my head just to avoid kind of seeing my hair fall out slowly. We'll see how it goes. So I just got my head shaved off. I'm not digging the new look as much, especially around my neighborhood. Kind of raises more questions, but I figured getting it shaven off was more preferable than seeing it fall apart suddenly, or just falling out in general. I noticed it this morning, and just decided to get rid of all of it. So today was supposed to be the first day of my second round of chemo. I met with the doctor today first thing in the morning, and he told me to cut back on my medication because it had been causing some side effects, including some skin irritation and sleeplessness. That was particularly the steroid I was taking. After that, I went down to the lab and got some blood work done. And after that, I went back up to the nurse's station, and when the blood results came in, there was actually some surprising news. My white blood cell count was down significantly, and they couldn't proceed with the chemo, so they canceled this week's chemo, and they're going to give me the week off to recover. Basically, your white blood cells are the defense mechanism of your body to fight off infections or other types of viruses or things that try invading your body. So that means that right now I'm extremely susceptible to anything like the common cold or flu. The other thing that came from that is usually when you get your blood work done, they'll put something on there just to apply pressure to it and kind of keep the blood from spilling all over the place. And when I actually tried removing it, it seemed like my blood platelets were also significantly down. Your blood platelets are pretty much what clogs any types of cuts and prevents you from bleeding out. But this time there's actually a significant accumulation of blood where the gauze was on. So I just got back home from my appointment today. So I had my injection of bleomycin. Went well last week when I had the injection. I had a really severe fever afterwards, which is one of the side effects. One of the interesting things I talked to the nurses about today in regards to the bleomycin is because they have to inject it into you manually. They don't just put it into the machine. The reason being that the bleomycin can actually cause tissue necrosis, which is when it can cause irreparable tissue damage. You just have like a big chunk missing. It's just like a giant hole. It was really interesting, and hopefully I don't find out what that's like. So I'm at the hospital today. I'm gonna get some pulmonary exams done. One of the drugs that has been administered to me as part of my chemotherapy, bleomycin, has some side effects. It can damage your lungs. Before I started my chemo, I had one of the pulmonary exams to test whether or not my lungs are strong enough to actually take the drug. Right now, the test would just be to see how much damage it's actually done and where the results are at now compared to when we started.
So I just finished up my first cycle of chemo. I'm not sure that if I'll have to continue chemo. Really, my biggest hope is that I don't. That I get some good news from the doctor in a couple of weeks when I see him again after my next imagings. But it's tough not knowing what's going to happen next. My gut and my hunch are telling me that I'm going to have to keep going. And that's a scary thought for me, because what I've had to deal with, while not even remotely close to what other people have struggled with, for me is just, it's just a scary thought, really. There's no other way to put it. I'm really hoping that I have the strength to see this through and just pull through and be able to live a healthy life after this. The chemo is really something that you can't describe to anyone. The things that it does to your body, while it can kill the cancer, it also kills you slowly. And that's what's so tough about it, is that it's a medicine that's so powerful that doctors have to use it methodically. You don't realize how menacing a cancer diagnosis is until you actually have cancer, or you know someone that has cancer. You see the commercials all the time, you can hear the radio ads, and you can, read all these things about it, but once you hear those words that you have cancer, someone you love has cancer, you kind of just get pushed forward to the brink, and you're staring down at this bottomless pit, and you don't know what's waiting for you down there. And that's the reality of it. It's just a frightening place to be standing at, because for me, that's how I feel. I'm standing at the edge right now where I don't know what's waiting for me. I thought, 5 months ago, that I was done, that I was in the all clear, that I could look back and say that I was a cancer survivor. And here I am, dealing with cancer again, dealing with the effects of chemotherapy. And it's a struggle, mentally and physically. When people found out I had cancer, they were amazed at how well I was taking it. And all I can really say is that for everything you see, or that I'm showing, or that I'm not showing in terms of fear, it all exists behind the scenes. Most of my angst and my anguish and stuff like that, it occurs in my mind. The physical and mental side effects of everything that's been going on have been very real for me, and I just choose not to display them, because I don't want people worrying or having their lives affected by what's going on with me. And the reason I do that partly is also because I just don't want to worry someone so much that their worry in turn feeds into mine, and I think that anguish just feeds into more anguish. And I just don't feel that strong some days that I can keep going, but I know I have to, and I know I have no other choice, because there's just nothing more that I want than a normal life again. And the only way I can do that is to get through this battle.